Hey there guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be going over my new video card that I got in the mail the other day. Now this is the GTX 970, or I guess the original edition. It's a step under the gaming edition, so it just comes with a standard twin frozen cooler. I believe it's a twin frozen cooler. The fans look all nice. This is an upgrade from my very old HD 6870 because I went out and got a 4K monitor as well. You know, click the little eye up in the top right if you haven't seen my unboxing of that monitor. Now, and I just really wanted to show you guys exactly what I did as soon as I got the card in the mail. And what I decided to do was redo the thermal paste that was on the card. So I basically, you know, took it apart and, you know, replaced the thermal paste on there because I did buy it used on eBay, so I wasn't really sure how long the person before me has been using the card, so I decided to just replace it entirely because I have some thermal paste lying around and I felt like doing something a little new. Now let's get right into that. Now, as for actually removing the cooler off of the card, what you need to do is just undo these 4 little screws here in a diagonal formation, as you see that I'm doing here, so you can relieve the pressure off of the GPU evenly and not have it, you know, have too much pressure on one side, and you know, you just want to avoid that altogether. What you want to just make sure you keep a diagonal pattern, and for this specific cooler, it's just 4 screws that attaches the cooler to the card, and then what you have to do is just undo that little fan plug there, and there you go. You just get 2 simple heat pipes, 2 nice looking MSI fans, and you also get a beautiful circuit board, and to show you just exactly where all the work is done on your computer. Okay, so there's a few things you want to make sure you have before you change the GPU thermal paste on your card. Number 1, actually have thermal paste. Number 2, either a paper towel or a coffee filter. Number 3, some patience. And number 4, some alcohol. Now, as you can see, I don't really get all of the thermal paste off to the sides there, the corners of the GPU, because there are some very small components right there, and I don't want to push down too hard and possibly break those. So I just want to make sure that I actually get the GPU itself nice and clean for replacement. Now, if you want to go ahead and try and, you know, get that extra thermal paste off there to the side, you can go ahead and try, but you don't want to do it too rough because, again, there are some little components there that you could damage if you press down too hard, and then you have to buy a new card because you probably voided your warranty, and I'm sorry. Now, there's a few things you want to also do when it comes to replacing the thermal paste on your video card, is that you want to also remove the thermal paste from your actual cooler, because then it would probably be really weird that you decided to replace it on your GPU and not take off what was on the cooler. You know, it's okay if you did that. Just make sure you don't again. Now, as you can see that I'm rubbing in circles, it's probably not the best idea to do it in circles, but I felt like I was on a roll, so I decided to go in circles. You can do it in circles. I wouldn't say you can't, but you know, there's probably much better methods of taking the thermal paste off of your cooler instead of doing this wipe on motion from Karate Kid. Now you can see that I'm applying the thermal paste to my GPU, and I like to put it in the middle. I don't like to spread it out because that can create air gaps in between, which will lead to less sufficient cooling. So I just put it in the middle, and then I put the cooler on top of it and have it spread out on its own by the pressure that happens when you screw the card back in. Now you can see that I'm having a little trouble here putting the fan back where it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be this difficult. I was just, wasn't really paying attention. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you don't just, put the card down on the CPU, on the GPU, because you want to make sure not to spread the thermal paste everywhere. You just want to put it down and make sure all of the holes line up so you can screw it in. You want to make sure that is nice and set before you actually apply pressure to it by having the screws screwed in on the back. You want to make sure all of those holes line up before you actually want to screw them all in. And when you screw them in, you want to make sure that you also are doing them in a diagonal pattern so you can spread the pressure out evenly as you go. You want to make sure that not too much thermal paste is on one side as opposed to the other. You want to get as even a distribution of pressure as possible when you're retightening the cooler on the card. Now the card is all set up and ready for your computer and that 4K goodness awaiting your monitor. The proper 4K goodness, at 60 Hertz. Okay, so this is just the card installed into my computer now. You can see everything's running all fine and dandy. That card on the bottom there, that's my sound card. I just took it out, just because. I put it back in, don't worry. I don't run my computer that way. But that's everything. I want to thank you guys for watching and staying in for these 7 minutes of this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.